Hey team, it's day 23. I hope you guys are doing well. I want to run through my 6 daily goals for you, but also it is the beginning of the year and I've been hearing tons of people talking about their different eating programs and diets and people buying this plan and that plan and this and what do you do and what do they do? And it's crazy. It's all over the place right now. As a matter of fact, that is a multi-billion-dollar industry, as we know, the weight loss industry. So I want to run through a little bit on intermittent fasting today. I like it. I do it at times myself. But I'll run through, some of the most common eating patterns with that and also some of the benefits. So let's get into the daily goals first. Day 23, I was 222 pounds, about the same as yesterday, I think 221.5 or 6. But remember when we talked about, in the beginning, and we're, past week 3, but in the beginning, you have a really fast downward trend of weight. And it's because why? When you overeat, you retain more water because your body has more glycogen stores or stores up more of that carbohydrate that you've been eating. And we know carbohydrate retains water. For every 1 gram of glycogen, 3 to 4 grams of water. So, the average person has 3 to 4 pounds when your normal glycogen stores are there, but I was probably overeating carbs. So I've lost a lot of that water weight right away, but that's why I weigh myself every day. So you can see that trend go downhill and you can keep on it. So it doesn't get you down when you have 2, 3, 4 days in a row. As I get closer to that 206, boy, those last 2 weeks are going to be tough. I believe anyway. Maybe it won't be, but it probably is going to be. 1429 for my calories, man. I was super busy yesterday. Just had a ton more piled on my plate. Some unexpected things come up that I had to deliver on. And really, I just didn't eat lunch. That was my big thing. Like I didn't have a lunch yesterday, whether a protein, anything. I was driving back to my place and I was just thinking to myself, I didn't have anything. So for me to cram 2,000 calories in a night, normally when I'm eating super calorie dense foods like a sleeve of Oreos wouldn't be hard. But when I'm trying to eat a little healthier and things, I wasn't going to try and shove a full 2,000. I don't think I would have been able to actually, based on how I've been eating for the past 3 weeks. I wasn't going to do that, in about 4 or 5 hour periods. So I only got 1,429 calories. But remember, if you fail to plan things, you should plan to fail. I just don't want to stay that low because it's going to mess up my workouts and my energy levels at night in the future. So 118 ounces of water, 7 hours of sleep, which was good. I timed my cardio to 30 minutes because I knew I didn't have a ton of time yesterday extra. So I got that in. And then 104 grams of protein. I normally get, around that 200 range. So if you think an extra 100 grams of protein at 4 calories per gram, that would have taken me up to about 1,900 calories, probably, if you include some of the fat that would have been with that. So I would have hit my calories had I gotten in my protein, and that was my gap, was my lunchtime. So remember, it's not that big of a deal when you are low calorie or you miss one of these once every so often, but staying too low with calories for too long, that's going to lead to hunger pangs, and it's just your body's going to start to go crazy on you. So let's get into intermittent fasting. What is it? Basically, it's what it says. It's fasting from time to time. So the most popular 2 eating patterns are 16-8, which is, you fast for 16 hours and then you have a window where you eat for 8, or you eat, I call it the 5-2, that's what they call it too, but 5-2 is you eat like you normally would for 5 days and then you restrict yourself for the other 2. Now it's not completely cutting off your food, but it's pretty restrictive. So the 5 days you eat kind of normal. And for women on those 2 days, you have 2 meals, and they call these meals, of 250 calories a piece. So that's 500 calories total on the days that you're kind of fasting or you're changing your eating pattern. And then men, it's a whopping 300 calories. So it's actually 600 calories. That's kind of the guidelines. And I don't really like the 5 and 2 because it's really calorie restrictive, but it works. And some people, there are other patterns too, but these are the 2 that are the most common. And I like the 16-8. I've actually went 18 and 6 before. That's a little tougher. And I've done 14 and 10. So it's just a matter of what your preference is when you eat, whether you eat breakfast. And remember, as you fast, it's just coffee, tea, any kind of non-calorie drinks. Because if you remember my earlier lessons with you guys, artificial sweeteners can cause kind of a fake insulin spike. And the first benefit of intermittent fasting is those lower insulin levels, because as your insulin levels are lower, it actually turns on your fat burning machine. So when we're eating or in a fed state, as I've talked about in our past lessons, our body insulin is off, or insulin is on, excuse me. And so it's shoving your energy into your cells. Insulin is the key that takes the energy out into the cell. So then you're really not in a catabolic or weight loss state. Well, when your insulin levels drop really low, you're able to increase your fat burning. So your body starts taking away from your energy stores, which typically is fat or, in the liver, glycogen in the liver. So when you take a look at that, lower insulin levels, it raises your fat burning. HGH, your human growth hormone, goes up. That also helps with fat burning and muscle gain. Cellular repair happens, so it helps you flush some things. But the biggest thing I like about the first one and the last one is it's hard to eat a ton in your window. So a lot of people, it restricts your calories. So it's pretty weird how lower calories there, calorie range is there. So you see that commonality with a lot of the diets, whether it's your red, green, yellow, intermittent fasting, the trifecta that I'm talking about. To lose weight, you need to lower your calories or get in around that maintenance calorie portion using a fat calorie app tracker, the rule of 10. There's many different ways you can look at what you should be eating, but if you don't know what you're eating, chances are you're overeating. Just plain and simple. We overestimate or underestimate by about 20%. So insulin levels, why does that matter? The low insulin levels, why does that matter? Because keeping your insulin levels lower or normal actually helps prevent insulin resistance, which we know insulin resistance is a precursor for type 2 diabetes. So I love that about the intermittent fasting. So there are a lot of additional benefits outside of the calories to intermittent fasting. But what I would encourage you to do is do your own research, but ensure that when you're clicking on those links, make sure it's not an ad or it's not something to sell you a intermittent fasting diet plan, okay? Because in the end, when you take a look at this time of the year, you want to do your research in places that are actually doing research, not trying to sell you something. And even though a lot of the plans do have good research behind them, you're clicking on marketing, just like a lot of us with online marketing do. So be careful, but do your own research. And I think what you're going to find is there are a lot of benefits, but you know what? Ensure that if you have any comorbidities or anything, always talk to your doctor or healthcare professional before starting any rigorous or intermittent fasting or diet plan or even this. So hopefully you guys are having a good day. Like I said, thanks so much for your support. If you have any other questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments. And as always, I look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow. Thanks again.